Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Donald Trump and Chris Wallace interview breakdown. The first part covered coronavirus, schools, testing, masks, etc. Basic stuff we'd never seen before. The basic prognosis was that Donald Trump just gets his numbers handed to him in giant font and assumes that whatever he's doing is working and whatever he does is going to work next. He was wrong about a bunch of statistics. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, and he wants to just kind of doom people. Anyway, we're going to continue, and this is going to be the crime and policing segment. This is going to be great.
There has been a spike in violent crime in America in recent weeks. We've seen deaths up in...
That's what happens when you don't take care of your citizens in a pandemic. When you give, for 4 months of pandemic and lockdowns and quarantine and civil unrest, you give people $1,200 and say, all right, that's it, there you go. As people lose their homes, as people lose their jobs, as poverty rises and people are immiserated and destroyed and lose everything, crime's gonna rise. Crime's gonna rise a lot. There are no two things in all of society that correlate quite as perfectly as crime and poverty. Always happens. And that's the conservative setup. That's the grift. You destroy social safety nets. You immiserate your people. Then when crime goes up and poverty goes up, you use that as an excuse to militarize and employ essentially colonial imperialist tactics within your borders, and that is what becomes fascism and authoritarianism. And it's working pretty well right now for us. Let's see how it's going to go for Mr. Trump.
New York, deaths up in Chicago, shootings. How do you explain it, and what are you going to do about it?
Once again, it's because of crime. It's because of poverty and immiseration. That is what raises crime. Always.
I explain it very simply by saying they're Democrat-run cities. They're liberally run. They're stupidly
What does that mean? Explain that, please.
run. We have forced them in Seattle to end the CHOP because, we were going in that following day. You probably have heard it. We were getting ready to go in. We were all set. And when they heard that we were going, they set their
CHOP was a cool idea, but also a bad idea. That was never going to work.
police force
Liberal Democrats have been running cities in this country for decades.
poorly.
Why is it so bad right now?
No, they were pretty great prior to deindustrialization. It's deindustrialization that was kind of the turning point in the spike of and outsourcing and all that kind of led to the spike of crime, the collapse of the labor movement, and various other issues of the sort, and that is definitely attributable to this. But go ahead, just say Democrats run them, even though any place that is productive and successful and densely populated is probably run by Democrats.
They've run them poorly. It was always bad, but now it's gotten totally out of control. And it's really because they want to defund the police. And Biden wants to defund the police.
Sir, he does not.
I'm someone who wants to defund the police, and I'm someone who's going to vote for Biden. I wish Biden wanted to defund the police. He does not.
Look, he signed a charter with Bernie Sanders. I will get that one, just like I was right on the mortality
Defunding the
rate.
police wasn't in
Did
that.
you read the
I
charter
wanted it
that
to
he
be, but it
agreed
It
wasn't.
says
to?
nothing about defunding the
Oh,
police.
really? It says abolish. It says Let's go.
All right.
Get me the charter, please.
All right,
Chris,
ta-da.
you've got to start studying for these.
He says defund the police.
He says defund the police. They talk about abolishing the police.
No,
they
they
talk
don't.
about
I'm-
illegal
I look-
aliens
I look
pouring.
Forward, I look forward to seeing that. Meanwhile, the George Floyd murder has reignited the issue of racism in policing in this.
Chris Wallace has actually been doing a great job with this interview, by the way. This is actually better than I expected from Wallace. He's nailing this.
Country. I want to give you a couple of statistics. Nationwide, blacks are twice as likely, fewer in absolute numbers,
wow.
but in terms
He
of
is
per
giving
capita,
us real data.
blacks are twice as likely to be shot and killed by police as whites are. In Minneapolis, over the last 5 years, police used force against blacks at a rate 7 times that against whites. Can you understand why blacks would be angry at that?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Many whites are killed also. You
I
have to say.
understand.
he has to pivot instantly to, yeah, but what about whites? Every time this is what his base wants. He knows what his people want.
That I mean, many whites are killed. I hate the sound, but this is going on for decades. This is going on for a long time.
There we go. Donald Trump understands why this is popping off right now, because, yeah, it's been going on for decades, and people are really, really tired of it. And all the other protests were ignored, and nothing was done about it. So, we popping off, baby. We popping off. I didn't want to pop my
Before
mic.
I got here, you know, if you look at what's gone on in Portland, those are anarchists, and we've taken a very tough stand.
If you don't want to create anarchists, if you don't want to create chaos, don't fail the people like this. If you want this to end, then fix your system, dude. Like, there's a reason people are resorting to this, and it's not just because they're dumb commie LARPer kids. There are plenty of dumb commie LARPer kids, lots of them, but the majority of these people are people who are just sick of what has been put in front of them for the last 50 years.
If we didn't take a stand in Portland, you know, we've arrested many of these leaders. If we didn't take that stand, right now you would have a problem like, they were going to lose Portland. So let's see what this says here. Prosecution, sanctuary cities, incentivize illegal alien, expand asylum.
It's gonna fly.
Abolish immigration
fly.
detention. No.
That's not.
Those are largely actually pretty decent things that I could argue for in a different video. I'll have to argue for them in a different video. I might do an immigration video at some point, but
Oh,
yeah.
no, I will find it.
Okay.
This thing is many pages long. End prosecution of illegal border crossers. Support deathly, and these are the worst things.
Sir, I'm not disagreeing with you on any of those. I'm disagreeing about defund police.
Incent-
The White House never sent us evidence the Bernie Biden platform
Actually, I want to let him say
calls
this
for
first, and I have a
defunding or
thoughts.
abolishing police because there is none. It
No, there
calls
isn't.
for increased funding for police departments that meet
Yep.
certain standards.
Yep.
Biden has called for redirecting some police funding for related programs like mental health counseling.
This week, you said that Black Lives Matter.
Okay. Here's the thing. A lot of people hate Trump. Like, hate him. A lot of people think he's evil. A lot of people think he's like just a miserable, cretinous, monster, fascist creature. Here's what Trump actually is. He's the most terminally online email conspiracy grandpa of all time. He's just the most old man, the most American old man guy of all time, who sees something and globs onto it and just bases his entire spiel of the week on it, and is just the most gullible, impressionable dude ever to exist. Like, he's just an old man. He's just a normal old dude who sees something and he gets mad at it. He's just the old man mad at the TV. And that is why so many Americans identify with him, is because inside we have nothing. We are all just the old man mad at the TV. That is what Donald Trump is.
The Confederate flag are both issues of freedom of speech. But in the case of the Confederate flag, there are a lot of people who say these were traitors.
They were.
Who split from this country, fought this country in large part to preserve slavery.
True. Anytime someone says that it wasn't about slavery, look at the actual Confederate Constitution or the articles or whatever they wrote. Slavery was mentioned like 80 times in there. Like, it's insane. It's absolutely about slavery.
Is the Confederate flag offensive?
Yes.
It depends on who you're talking about, when you're talking about. When people proudly had their Confederate flags, they're not talking about racism. They love their flag. It represents the South.
What part of the South? What specifically about the South does it signify?
They like the South. People right now like the South. I say it's freedom of many things, but it's freedom of speech.
So you're not offended by it?
Well, I'm not offended either by Black Lives Matter. That's freedom of speech. And you know, the whole thing.
Right. If
Cancel culture, we can't cancel our whole history. We can't forget that the North and the South fought. We have to remember
History
that. Otherwise, we'll end up
is
fighting again.
canceled.
You can't just cancel.
we can't cancel our history and forget we fought, or we're gonna end up fighting again. It's just it's like a baby with no object permanence. It's like thinks that you have its nose. Like if we don't fly this flag, we're just gonna completely forget that we were angry at each other in the first place, and we're gonna start over. What is this? What? What do you think museums are for?
But let me ask you this when it gets to be more than just cancel. Well, maybe this is cancel culture. The National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, you have threatened to veto it because...
Just real quick, one of my favorite moments of the entire year was when, in an interview with Bernie Sanders, someone asked him how he felt about cancel culture, and he had no idea what they were talking about. He was just like, can you explain that to me? I don't understand. I'm just trying to get people health care.
In the bill, and this is supported by Republicans as well as Democrats, it would rename Army bases named for Confederate generals. Now, this is a bill that funds military operations. It gives soldiers a pay raise.
Yeah.
You're going to veto that?
Because they'll get their pay raise. Hey, look, don't tell me this. I got soldiers the biggest pay raises in the history of our military. I got soldiers brand new equipment, brand new jets, brand new rockets, brand new $2.5 trillion. I did more for the military than any president that's ever had this
you're
office.
Going to veto this
because
bill?
I think that Fort Bragg, Fort Robert E. Lee, all of these forts that have been named that way for a long time, decades and decades.
But the military says they're for this.
Excuse me. Okay.
The military.
What the military says. I'm supposed to make the decision. Fort Bragg is a big deal. We won 2
Why? Who
world
cares?
wars. Nobody even knows General Bragg. We won 2 world wars. Go to that community where Fort Bragg is in a great state. I love that state. Go to the community. Say, how do you like the idea of renaming Fort Bragg? And then what are we going to name it? You going to name it after the Reverend Al Sharpton? What do you?
I like how he goes straight from what? We're gonna change from a Confederate general to a black person? No, just name it after someone cool, dude.
You're gonna name it, Chris. Tell me what you're gonna name it. So there's a whole thing here. We won 2 world wars. 2 world wars, beautiful world wars that were vicious and horrible.
Okay.
And we won them out of Fort Bragg. We won them out of all of these forts that now they want to throw those names away.
This is what Donald Trump is. He's an old man mad at the TV because he just wants to keep his cool stuff.
And no, I'm against that.
That's what this is.
And you know what? Most other people are. And I don't believe in polls because I see the fakest polls I've ever seen. But that poll is a 64% thing, which actually surprised me. We won world wars out of these military bases. No, I'm not going to go changing them. I'm not going to go changing them. I might. Yeah, I might.
At Mount Rushmore on July 3rd, you said that we face a far left fascism in this country. And then you said this.
Our children are taught in school to hate their own country and to believe that the men and women who built it were not heroes, but that were villains.
You said our children are taught in school.
Oh, he's sweating.
Our country.
He's starting to sweat.
Where do you see that?
I just look at school. I watch. I read.
He's the old man watching old man TV. Everything about this man is explainable by the fact that he's just an old man angry at the TV.
Look at the stuff. Now they want to change.
Look at the stuff.
1492, Columbus discovered America. You know, we grew up, you grew up, we all did. That's what we learned. Now,
I don't think children are not gonna learn that Columbus came to America. I'm pretty sure people are still gonna learn that.
they want to make it the 1619 Project. Where did that come from? What does it represent?
Yeah.
I don't even know. So
No, you definitely don't.
Slavery.
that's what they're saying, but they don't even know. They just want to make a change.
No. They do know. They want a Pulitzer Prize, dude. What are you talking about?
Cancel culture. I hate the term, actually, but I use
but
it.
are they teaching
Cancel
people
culture.
to hate
Oh,
America?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Look at the professors. Look at what's going on in the colleges. If a conservative goes on a college, and look, we have as
He's just he's just talking about like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens getting booed at Minnesota because they're like want to come on their black people shouldn't have rights tour, and he's just like, man, these colleges. He's so angry at the TV.
Many as them. Excuse me. I think, to the best of my knowledge, we're sitting at the White House, and the Oval Office is right behind me. We have as many as them. But
Who's them?
the liberal,
You have as many as them. Exactly.
radical left, and I'm not talking all. I think liberal. I could tell you I like a lot of liberal people. I like a lot of liberal governors and senators. But Chris, we have a radical left destructive ideology, and it's being taught in our schools.
Explain
And
it.
don't act like you're surprised to hear this.
I'm curious. He looks like photoshopped. Like around his eyes and his forehead is like so wrinkly, but he's just kind of fuzzy through this area.
There are books
Just
written about
watch
it,
him.
and we can't let that go on. We can't let them change.
Once again, you'll notice he never explains exactly what he's talking about. He is just an old man angry at the TV.
The true meaning of what we're all about. And that's what they're trying to do, and I don't want it to happen. Not on my watch. It's not going to happen on my watch.
Mr. President, you'll be happy to know that Fox
Attaboy.
News has a new poll out today, and you're going to be the very first person to hear about it.
You know what? I actually might stop this next part here. That was the schools hate America and the whole policing section. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and pause the recording here. I'll upload the third part coming out. I'm enjoying this tremendously so far. I'm just recording all these back to back to back. This is great. This is going so well. I'm very excited to see what comes next in this poll. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Please just go ahead and watch the next part. Or don't. I don't know. Whatever.